Hi, I'm Jimmy, and I'm discussing the Week 1 discussion board topic, which is think about the canon of American literature. Is it diverse? Does it have to be changed in some way? If so, how? And if not, why? Basically, my take on the canon of American literature and whether or not it is diverse comes down to a very simple answer. At the time that most of the works were written and chosen, there were not a lot of alternative forms of writing being published. During the times that many of the older works like To Kill a Mockingbird, Uncle Tom's Cabin, and Of Mice and Men were written, racism was a relevant and everyday thing. And the only perspectives we have to go on now are the perspectives of the authors. And yes, basically all of the authors were privileged, educated white males. There aren't any other works because the women and African Americans were either not receiving an education or were receiving only a minimal education until they were old enough for work or to be married. And so, is it diverse? Not really by today's standards, but do we have any other options? I don't think so. All of those well-written pieces can give us insight on what life was back then. And it's not so bad that racism is there in the book still, in my opinion. I believe having to come to terms with how one human could treat another so disrespectfully just because of skin color is the best prevention from future racism. As unfortunate as this may be for our society to have to look back and see the embarrassing stand our forefathers took on racism, it's our history. As Professor Barr said, history and literature are tied together forever. I am also a believer of this. I think that people today should have to learn about the atrocities of the past so as not to recommit them in the future. I believe that history is history and we shouldn't change the canons. I do, however, believe that there is a much more diverse pool of writing to choose from now. There should be a lot more works by authors of different ethnicities and upbringings added in the future. It makes sense that in today's world, writers can come from anywhere. We have standardized public education that anyone is allowed to be a part of. It no longer depends on whose family has the most money to decide who will be the next great author of our generation and for future generations to read about. Anyone can go to college, and full-ride scholarships are offered to the truly gifted. They're not based on anything other than academic ability and performance. I believe that the classics should remain taught, and I believe new works will fill in the gaps that were left open from the narrow selection of previous authors. If we didn't continue to teach the literature, it, and the lessons we can learn from it would be tragically lost.